This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
How would you like to get more customers, make more profits, and have bigger breakthroughs? Get Doberman Dan's profit-boosting breakthroughs. Normally, this would cost you $98 per month, but right now, for listening to this show, he's giving you a free copy of his Doberman Dan letter. All you have to do is go to DobermanDan.com and sign up to get your free copy now.
Prepare yourself for the uncensored, nothing held back, no BS reality of how business and life really work. Doberman Dan is off the chain.
You're listening to Off the Chain Show with Doberman Dan. We're about to jump into part 2 of his interview with Dave, and it's going to get a little weird when he starts talking about things that you're not supposed to talk about. So let's jump back in.
You know how we're always told you're never supposed to talk politics or religion. So I'm gonna talk religion. I've always done the exact opposite of what I'm supposed to do. So I'm gonna talk religion. So what do you say to the folks who have been nodding their heads saying, yes, I've been on this track to make a bunch of money and build my business, but yeah, I'm feeling that there's something missing. And no matter how much I seem to accumulate in material possessions, there's still an emptiness. But I'm a blank. Fill in the blank with whatever religion they follow. And it's funny, the people always say that. Don't say that they're finding the solution to what's missing in their life from that particular religion.
This is a very touchy question, but I'm glad you asked it. For me, I grew up and I went to a Christian school. And so my whole brain was framed into that religion. And it wasn't until I started asking questions and start searching for the truth that I started to discover some things. And one of the things that I want people to just investigate or consider is that instead of trying to search religion, let's try to search truth. Because one of the things that we have to discover is that all religions were made by man. And we all know that when man has anything to do with political or power or influence, that sometimes things get distorted. And then you take long period of years and you take a lot of different things. So I've discovered that you've got to read between the lines a little bit too. Most people really, they're caught in the religion. And what I want them to do is to take a look. What I discovered for myself is that basically, to me, all religions are a pathway to God. And they're just a roadmap. You have to imagine you're taking God who's infinite, and we're trying to put him into a book or to a box and limit it with our words and our culture, which you can't do. And for me, I think the absolute way to go is to follow your inner truth. And I hope that's making sense to you, Dan.
Yeah, it does. It makes sense. And I want to talk about that. So following your inner truth, is that an intuitive thing, or how does somebody define their inner truth? Or is it just when it's right, it's right?
Well, what I discovered is that inside of us, we know the truth. We have intuition. We have the ability. Trust me, I read every personal development book, everything on business. And when I met my spiritual teacher, she only speaks the truth. And she shows you how to know the truth. And for me, what most people don't understand, what a guru is a Sanskrit word. Guru means dispeller of darkness. And so what most people don't understand is that, let's just take Hinduism, which is Krishna. Most people don't understand that Hinduism way back wasn't a religion. It was a way to live life. Over time, people take it and made it religion. Most people don't understand Buddhism. Buddha said, I'm not a religion. They still make a religion, right? Most people don't understand that Christianity wasn't written by Jesus. Jesus didn't create Christianity. If you study the history, and I know I'm bringing up something that for a lot of people, they might be not wanting to hear this information, but I'm just asking you to consider and just search for yourself. Basically, when Jesus was here about 2,000 years ago, he was a guru. He was teaching his students. And when he left this planet, it wasn't until 300, 500 years later that Constantine, who was a Roman, decided that we need to create Christianity. So what he took is the Old Testament, which is a Jewish Bible, and he took some teachings from Jesus and he created Christianity. Now you got to remember this. So imagine 100 years, 300 years later, the translations, the disciples, most people don't know this. You ask who wrote the New Testament. It wasn't the disciples. It was a gathering of people that took stories to put it together. So with that much error, the information didn't come exactly from Jesus. So we have to discover a little bit about the translation, a little about some of the words. And when you understand that and follow that truth, you understand that this will open up a whole new conversation.
I bet you I'm going to be so criticized about this particular episode. Because
you just love to wake people up. And that's what's great about you. You just love to challenge them to step into their greatness.
Well, so I talk about being an entrepreneur all the time, forgive me if I focus too much on the money aspect of it, but a lot of us become entrepreneurs because of the money and or the freedom, or we just want the money to be able to buy the freedom. But I mean, that's not really the entrepreneur's journey. It's actually, it's about becoming. And as far as a self-improvement course, it's a really good one, being an entrepreneur. So I view all this as the same topic, man. Aren't we talking about becoming and realizing our potential, even though we're not particularly talking about making money, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Human beings love to create and manifest and enjoy their experience here. So why not? Entrepreneurship's a great way, to show your creativity and manifest. And, it could be in other ways. You might be an artist or whatever. But, what I've learned through my spiritual teacher, Dan, is that each one of us are a soul and we choose our lessons, we choose our destiny, and we come down to the earth realm to live our life. And so the biggest challenge that what I discovered, Dan, is that most people, instead of flowing in life and getting flow of what you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to meet, most people try to push things and they try to do it their way. And life becomes a battle. But it's until you really find out what is your true purpose, what is your destiny, it's a struggle for most. And this is what, a spiritual teacher, meditation and yoga and different techniques can help you do, is really connect back to you so that you can get in your purpose and your passion and your destiny.
I want to talk about meditation in a second, but first, you've had a whole ton of proteges that you've coached be really successful as speakers. Now that you've been on the spiritual journey, man, I almost don't even know how to ask this question. There's a reason I'm asking this, because it's due to an experience I had a year ago at an event I put on, and I'm trying to work out in my head how to ask this. So do you ever find that when you're coaching somebody on doing a presentation and it's just not there, it's just whatever, it's not resonating, it's not going to connect with people, do you ever find that what you've been learning on the spiritual journey, that the missing ingredient is love? Because you talked about making money with love earlier. Have you ever found that that's the missing ingredient in the speaking, in marketing, in copy, all that?
That's a great question. And, I think this is a great time to bring this up. I've studied all the techniques, all the strategies of, how to speak, how to write your presentation. And just like you know all the ways to write copy, but it's getting out of your head and getting into your heart, and getting into your heart and speaking the truth, bypasses any trickery or any systems or structures that people can have. And so speaking is definitely, a lot of people get in their head. And one of the biggest things that I teach in speaking is a lot of people have fear of speaking. And what fear is, all fear is the false events appearing real. So what I tell people, when you're nervous, get into service. So fear is an indication that there's something to be afraid of. You're going to get hurt. But if you're speaking, why would anybody have fear? It's because the only thing that's afraid to get hurt is their self-image, their ego. So the question I have is their presentation about them or is it about the people? It's about them. So one of the things I learned is it's in giving that you receive. And so in business, in writing copy or speaking, if you can truly just get out of your selfish gain and learn a way to serve and the way to truly come from the heart, it will be better than any other strategy that you can learn. In fact, Dan, it was pretty interesting. After working with my spiritual teacher, raising my vibrational frequency, raising my consciousness, raising my what they call kundalini, I walked into my office and I saw hundreds of books, business books, personal development books. I looked at them and I told my secretary, you can give them all away. Mm-hmm. I don't need them anymore. My consciousness, my frequency is beyond these. But wherever you're standing at, sometimes you need to go through those things to get to the ultimate truth. So my guru told me there's no good or bad. There's no right or wrong. There just isness. And so wherever you're standing at is an opportunity for each person to grow, to raise their frequency, to start to bring more joy, bring more compassion to the world. And this is when really you can have a better life. Most people are stuck in ego and desires and anger and fear and manipulation and stuck in these different emotions. It's when you go past the emotions that you have true bliss.
Okay, I got to play devil's advocate for a minute because, we entrepreneurs are very pragmatic people. Like for years, my deal was I'm just going to put my head down and charge forward. Yeah. And, and that's the key to success. So when you're talking about raising your frequency, your vibration, you talked about auras, you talked about chakras, a lot of people in our world are going to roll their eyes, cry bullshit. This is all woo-woo stuff. But, and spiritual teachers for years have been for thousands of years have been talking about this. But isn't this stuff that's been blown off as woo-woo fairly recently been confirmed by the quantum physicists?
Yeah, that's the truth. All these techniques, quantum physics and science is all validating. But, I think the biggest validation is, they say the eyes are the window to the soul, and, you can look at a teacher or somebody, and if you see peace in them, you see bliss in them, ask them, what are you doing? Right? Because obviously they're at a different place than where most people are at. So I can give you an example. I used to see, and Dan, you probably see this, I work with so many different business people, and I used to say, Dustin, I'm like, I don't get it. These clients are making tons of money. They don't have a freaking clue. I mean, it's just like they go around life in this woo-woo stuff and they don't have strategy, business plans. They don't have this, that, and the other. And man, it's a joke. I used to say that all the time, Dan. These guys are just a joke. But they were living a better life than me. They weren't with strategy. They weren't stressed out. They were just having fun. And they were growing their business in prosperity. And I didn't really understand it until recently. And that's one of the things that I went to Dustin today, and he bought a pendulum. And the pendulum is to anchor in your mind to be in flow. If you listen to it, if you're charging, if you're pushing, does that sound like abundance? And you can charge and push so long, but that's not a sustainable model. Your body will get sick and break down. And you can see all kinds of people. I don't know if you have an example, you've seen people, you're like, how do these people do it? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's proof that there is a different way to do it.
A different way. Some may say a better way. Some may say that it is the better way than charging through. I want to go back to meditation because I read an article fairly recently that one, if not, maybe it was the most common thing that they found amongst highly successful people was a dedication to consistent meditation, a lot of them on a daily basis. So I'm a total rookie. I'm just a rookie at life. I'm old enough now that I can admit that. I'm, like Socrates says, I know nothing. I finally, I can finally admit that. But I'm really a raw rookie at meditation. And I guess my biggest question is, it seems like those thoughts, they never shut up. I thought I was supposed to meditate. I'm supposed to get quiet for whatever number of minutes and quiet my mind and just focus on the presence and breathe. Those damn thoughts, man, like, oh, I'm going to be quiet and meditate, enjoy peace. And all of a sudden, boom, this thought pops in like, oh, don't forget you got the deadline on this piece. Oh, don't forget you forgot to return this call. First of all, what am I doing wrong? Or maybe I'm not doing anything wrong. What is meditation?
Well, my guru, Shishi Punamji, told me, what is meditation? Most people don't know what meditation is. All meditation is an altered state of consciousness. See, there's two operating systems. And everything that I'm telling you, by the way, I have learned from my teacher. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you information that I've learned from her in the best of my ability to assist anybody listening to this. But obviously, the main source would be to listen with her, come to our ashram, or learn directly, because she only speaks all truth. So from my understanding, in my humble opinion, when I first met my guru, Dan, I used to have full-blown ADD, ADHD. I would be talking to one person, talk to another person, and literally my mind would race and race and race. And I couldn't stop talking about my business, about customers, about this, that, and the other. And I was reckless. And one of the things is you learn about meditation, but it's hard because meditation is about quieting the mind, connecting to you, and getting out of your ego and your subconscious into your higher self. And when you get into your higher self, you have peace, or you get into the nowness. See, most people are in the past or in the future. Very few are in the present, which is obviously the gift of life. And that's where our power is. So typically, if people are trying to meditate on crazy mind, that's not going to work, right? So a better strategy, my spiritual teacher advised me, is to chant. See, most people don't know that when God created the world, he created sound. And so most people don't understand that our body, the chakra, is sound. So when you say words or you chant a sound, what you're doing is you're raising your frequency of your body. And you're bringing your vibrational frequency up. And on certain chants or certain hums, you can actually create manifestations and you can change. So I think typically, until your mind has stopped, I would have you consider, Dan, chanting. See, most people don't hear the word is the same as amen. Amen and are the same word, just different languages. So that's why people chant So I think chanting would be a way for you to raise your frequency and get you out of that chattering mind. Making sense?
It does. Not only makes sense, it's really intriguing because, I'm a musician. That's what I really want to do for a living. So, I've always been into music, and it's always interesting to see how music affects people in different ways. And I know about the solfeggio tones, and it's all about certain frequencies and how certain frequencies affect your mind, affect your tissues, and different frequencies are associated with different things. I mean, that's why in certain rap music, you hear those really, really, really low tones that you can't define a note, but you feel the vibrations. They're putting that in there as a way to manipulate emotion. So, you can use music, you can use tones, you can use frequencies to manipulate things in a good way and a bad way. So, yeah, not only does it make sense, I find it extremely intriguing. I can't wait to try it.
Yeah, that's why you hear about sound therapy. Certain bulls and certain people, they're using sound frequencies to change the frequency of their body. So chanting in sound frequencies is very powerful techniques. Now, I got to tell you, Dan, after working with my spiritual teacher spent 20 years studying all the herbs, the crystals, in the Himalayas with scientists. And she created some amazing products, essential oils and incense. And I've been taking these amazing products, Dan, and I got to tell you today, right now, I have no chatter. And my mind is completely at rest. And it was through the grace of my guru and taking these products. And now when I meditate in bliss. I meditate in the most euphoric experience that no drug or no alcohol or no sex can even compare with. So most people know when you get to that high frequency, that any earthly feeling or drug or whatever you can think of that gets you high is not even close. And it's when you stop this mind and you get into the present now, that's when you have divine bliss, and that's where you live in peace. And my passion is to help and show as many people to get back into their higher self, into their peace, so that they can live in joy. Money, business, cars, dating, sex, all this stuff is a distraction. Let's reconnect back to you first. And that way you can be in divine bliss. And Dan, this is why my partner, and it told you, is that when I met my spiritual teacher, I was amazed. I mean, things that I could probably say. I've been astral traveling. I have done all kinds of absolutely incredible things. And the great thing about what Guruji teaches is self-realization, your journey, your truth. And so I set up a 501c3, a nonprofit. And so, Dan, one of my passions is my spiritual teacher said the kids in this country are going to be in deep trouble. We need to create a school to show kids how to tap into their intellects, to become actually brilliant and to reconnect. Then we need to create a holistic hospital to heal people of disease and pain and suffering. Because until you heal your body, it's hard for you to go on the spiritual path. And then we need to create an elderly place for the elderly to come to teach the kids the wisdom. And we're going to teach people how to grow organically. We're going to have waterfalls and rose gardens. So this is one of the biggest things why I'm spending my time not in Speaking Empire, which is an amazing company to help speakers and entrepreneurs, but I have a bigger mission, and it's to teach people to connect back to themselves, lift the consciousness so that this world can become a better place. And that's where I'm standing at now.
Well, that's an extremely honorable mission. So I have two questions while we unfortunately have to wrap up. First is, if somebody wants to get in touch with you to find out more about those things that you shared, how can they do that? And second, what about if they want to find out more information or get in touch with your guru?
Well, here's what I would suggest. If anybody's interested in opening the light, to have peace, to share with them a way to heal themselves mentally, physically, emotionally, if you're having any challenges, you can go to our website, which is divineblissinternational.org. Reach out to us. We're here to serve. We're here to show people the way, or you can feel free to call us here. And we're also doing a crowdfunding. We have healing centers all around the world, and I want to open up these places in the United States. So I'm doing a crowdfunding. We're going to build our first big space, school for kids, this holistic hospital, and a place for people to come, Dan. And we did a crowdfunding. If anybody would love to join us in this movement and coming together and giving themselves the opportunity to give and serve, we set up a crowdfunding. You can go to hellosoul.org and you can make an honoring there, which can absolutely change your life and help us join so we can help other people. That's probably the best ways to really just serve yourself and start loving yourself more.
Sounds good. Dave, I really appreciate your time today. I appreciate you sharing this. It's something that, I just don't hear many entrepreneurs talking about. And so I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity to share you with my audience. So thank you.
Well, I humbly am very just honored. Back in the day, I'd be, oh, yeah, great. My ego would be, oh, yeah, that's great. But I'm just very blessed to just be a part of divine bliss, and just in humbleness and gratitude, just bring as many people to the light as possible and to assist as many people. And I'm just very blessed to be in this situation, Dan. And I'm glad, Dan, I'm so glad that we got a time to really get to know each other and talk about these deep issues, because this is what truly people are really searching for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, I've been wanting to reach out to you for years. And now that I think about it, Like we would have had a good time before, but now now I feel like the timing was perfect to do this. So I'm glad it happened now.
See, that's the flow of life. And so, Dan, I want to invite you. We do a lot of workshops here. We do chakra cleaning, meditation workshops, astro traveling, relationship. We got all kinds of absolutely incredible workshops to assist people. So I'd love to invite you to come over to one of these workshops. And obviously, we are a nonprofit, a 501c3. So none of us take salaries here. And this is one of the things I'm learning, Dan, is to become a selfless server.
Selfless server. I like it. Well, so you're down in the Tampa area, right?
Yes, you have to come. Our first ashram in America is actually in Clearwater, Florida. And then we're getting ready to build out the big center so that we can have thousands, if millions of people come to find their path.
Well, awesome. I'm a hop, skip, and a jump from you. So I think maybe the next time we see each other, we'll be in person down there.
Yes, absolutely, man. We'll have more fun. Instead of going out and doing that way, we can have fun doing meditation, yoga, and learning about the truth. It's an amazing journey, a fun journey to find the truth. It's in all of us to eventually find the truth.
Well, I'm there, man. I appreciate the invite. And I, again, appreciate you being on the show. Thanks a bunch, Dave.
That's all I could say.
Good stuff, Dave. Thanks for listening. And remember, if you want to create rivers of revenue from your existing customers, then the next thing you need to do is go to DobermanDan.com. He's giving away a free copy of his $98 per month Doberman Dan letter just for listening to the show. Go to DobermanDan.com now and sign up for your free issue.
This is the podcastfactory.com.